Hey, what's good? What's good, guys? How y'all doing? Don't really fucking care, but I had to put that out there because I'm a salesman, and you have to ask how your day's going, right? Just playing. If you're in sales, don't ever ask how their day's going, okay? Because you are literally telling them that they matter, and they really don't. You're just there for your commission check. Come on, just fucking kidding. Okay, just playing, just playing. So welcome to my channel. My name is Fernando Meza, and you're in Where's My Filter podcast. I'm just going to rant a little bit. I'm going to talk about a few political stories throughout the week, and I'm just going to go through how Trump's administration is doing right now. It's been fucking rough when it comes to the deportation numbers. This is not what we voted for. You know that it isn't. I mean, we voted for all of the illegal aliens to fucking leave this country. And what are we getting? We're getting half of the numbers that were being deported under Obama. And I mean, I'm not happy about it. And I get that right now their capacity in regards to ICE detention centers is at 109%. So they might not be able to do everything that they potentially could do. But at the same time, they could have been a little bit more clear about it during election season. And I mean, we're not surprised because they had to win this election. And I'm not necessarily regretting my vote for Trump because I'm still happy that I voted for him. He did many honorable decisions at the beginning of his presidency. I mean, freeing all of the January 6th protesters was amazing. I mean, he got so much political criticism from both the left and the right for doing this, but it was the right decision to make because at the end of the day, none of these people deserve to be in prison because we know that January 6th was a false flag operation and that the FBI instigated this protest. We know that they did, and it was a false riot. So I'm happy that he did that, but at the same time, the deportation numbers are not looking great. And until he passes until he passes an executive order that brings the military into play, we're not going to get any deportations over 1,500 maybe. Who knows? But I got the goddamn documents right here. All right, I'm Alex Jones, but from AF Post, because that's the new, that's going to be the new mainstream media in the future when Gen Zs take over, right? It writes, under Obama's administration, the illegal population decreased from 12.2 million to 10.7. Yet by the end of Trump's administration, this number surpassed 11 million. In fiscal 2019, Trump presided over a 47% increase in border crossings from fiscal 2016. Even more disheartening, the last 2 months of Trump's presidency saw only 71,000 and 75,000 apprehended at the border as compared with Obama's 43,000 and 31,000. While in April 2020, during the height of the pandemic, crossings fell to a relatively low 16,000. They steadily rose every consecutive month afterward, while COVID saw the strange resurrection of the nation state, abating both trade and the movement of peoples legal and illegal. It has long since passed. Globalism continues in its breakneck hurdle and on the front of illegal immigration. Trump has been unable to subdue it. This reality has not shaken the public perception of Trump. However, in October 2020, voters still viewed him as formidable in the border, leading by a margin of 14% over Kamala. But yeah, I mean, if we look at Trump's administration, his first administration, he had 4 years of sinking those 4 years in while Biden was president to be able to make a plan in regards to deportations now. But it just seems like nothing's really happening. I mean, I get that he can't do too much because he does need additional funding resources from the federal government, and he would have to ask Congress for more funding to be able to build more ICE detention facilities. But at the same time, should be an issue that he is pressuring Congress to pursue instead of, putting all their time into, the CR bill. I get that we need a bill to continue to fund the federal government so we can avoid a shutdown. Which, I mean, it doesn't matter if there's a federal government shutdown. It's not like it's the first time that we have a shutdown, But it's like these issues being like the issues that he's focusing on aren't the issues that we voted for him to go and change, like we really don't give a fuck about these tax cuts. I mean, I'm glad that they're, proposing a tax cut of no income tax for people making 150,000 or less, but do you think that we're really going to pass that with a 2-seat majority in the House? Do you really think the cucks in the Republican House are going to pass that? Come on. Don't be fucking stupid. You know that shit ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I wish it did, but all this talk is really just talk. It's not gonna come into fruition if we're being honest here. So I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? There's going to be budget reconciliation bill sometime this year. You usually get like 2 of those every year, but that's not our focus. Because look, I've been into politics since 2016, and it's the same thing every 2 years. The budget reconciliation bills are always like, oh, both sides are fighting for, certain issues. Republicans are fighting for, increasing the military budget, and then we got Democrats fighting for, increasing money on Medicaid, or they'll, want to raise the debt ceiling for Social Security, and every 2 years, they make a fuss about it. Both sides do the same thing. They post political videos, or they'll go on a filibuster, or they'll just, go on a whole rant, go into like a fucking podcast and rant about how they're going to do all this brave shit. Or even, they'll start screaming at a fucking Congress member just to make a point, put it on a fucking 10 video reel so they can get reelected during the midterm election. They do this every 2 years, and what do we get? We get the same shit. We get the same shit every 2 years. We get the same junk, and we continue to fund our government at a higher degree. We used to spending bills used to be less than $1 trillion, and now an average spending bill every year is over $1 trillion. Like what? We spend like $5 or $6 trillion in spending in just a few years during Biden's administration. Like it's ridiculous. Like we're spending more money than we did during COVID now, and it just seems like it's never going to slow down. So I mean, I'll go more in detail about it. I just can't even talk about this shit right now. It's just disappointing. In other news, it's crazy how the word Christ is King is becoming such a big dilemma. This became a phrase like months ago, and most people that say it don't say it in the context of criticizing, what group, which one I'm talking about, this one right here, which one we're talking about. But people like, Andrew Klavan and Jeremy Boring, they're breaking down over this. And they're breaking down over it because they know that their media empire is about to collapse. Because they were transitioned towards real media, but at the same time, their political ideology is the same shit as Fox News. They haven't really changed anything. They bring people that, speak a great amount of truth, like Matt Walsh, and they fund a lot of his, political projects, his movies, which are pretty good. But outside of that, I mean, when it comes to foreign policy, they're the same neocons that speak on Fox News. It hasn't changed at all, with the exception of, I'd say Matt Walsh, and that's it, really. But, Dr. Jordan Peterson was crying like he always does on X, or he cries in videos like a fucking pussy. But, he made this whole tweet about Candace Owens. Because Candace Owens essentially was, talking about Lent season, and then Jordan Peterson essentially was like, which I will quote, he said, Candace Owens is a true pharisaical pretender. She vociferously proclaims her devotion to Christ for no other reason to elevate her perceived status. Her outrage is designed not to shout the truth from the rooftops, build bridges, or make peace, but to subvert Christianity itself with its main force to her own purposes. She is literally God, using God's name in vain. There are few more unforgivable sins. That sounded like fucking Mickey. Whatever, though. It's the same shit. It's fucking stupid. Like, who the fuck listens to this clown? Look, here's the thing. He doesn't even believe in God. He's said it in videos before where he basically doesn't get to the point like fucking women don't. He basically just like circles around the question when they ask him if he believes in God. He's like basically like, oh, what do you mean by do, or what do you mean by believe in God? Like, dude, fucking get to the point, bro. Like, how hard is it? Just be honest and just say that you're an atheist. And this is the thing. It's the conservative movement or the alt-right wing movement, which I like to associate myself more with, because I am a social conservative, but I am a nationalist because I believe that this country is built on European values. And people that don't agree with that could get the fuck out of this country. You know, this country was built on a European foundation and on Christian values, not Judeo-Christian. It was built on Christian values. You know, both Protestant values and the Catholic population has grown in the last about 150 years in the U.S. So you can see Catholics and Christians. I get it. Catholics are Christian also, but a lot of times people separate, Protestants and Catholics. But, we need to unite together to build that Christian foundation because we are a Christian country. We had the first Great Awakening, and the Second Great Awakening, which brought many political denominations, and it brought, the progressive movement, which it banned alcohol, but it also brought a lot of great things towards that movement. I'm not talking about the progressive movement of Theodore Roosevelt and when it comes to, passing the income tax, but I'm talking about how we've had revolutions throughout our history that have actually, brought about the social issues and why they matter to our society. And those great awakenings did a lot to help that out. So this country was built on Christian values, and, having people who aren't even American citizens come here and tell us that we can't say Christ is king, like Jordan Peterson, it's like, dude, get the fuck out of here, okay? Like, if you don't believe this country is based on Christian values, then you have no reason to be in this country, okay? So, like, I'm just sick of it, and I'm just hoping for alternative media to change and go more towards the right, and we can just get away and just, shift away from this corporatist, conservative, like neoconservative wing, because at the end of the day, once the decades go by and baby boomers die, we're gonna become more right wing. So why are we still listening to these shows? Matt Walsh, if he wants his credibility to sustain, he has to leave the Daily Wire. Same thing with Michael Knowles, they're Catholic conservatives, but they're still working for so more and more people are going to see them like cucks if they don't leave the Daily Wire. I love Matt Walsh's content. I really do. I agree with him on a lot of social issues, and he's the only one that stands up against the Daily Wire when it comes to the money that we give to foreign aid to other countries, which I applaud him for that. And I'm glad there's people like him in this movement that actually stand for the idea that America is built on European values. And I mean, this country was originally made for white European Christians, okay? So there's that. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Just really wanted to talk about, where the right wing is headed to these days. If you want to, follow me on Rumble, add me on Where's My Filter. Subscribe to this channel, so you get notifications. Also, follow me on Instagram at Fernando Meza Jr. Follow me on X at Fernando Meza Jr. So you get some updates. Sometimes I'll be giving, like fitness advice so people get in shape because I build an audience. I don't want them to be fucking all fat, I already live in Texas. I love it here, but everyone's fucking fat. And I just hope my audience doesn't reflect that. That would be pretty sad. So, just click like, refresh the video, watch it a bunch of times, share it with your family and friends, and I'll see you guys later.